Buddy, it's been a
Was good,
minute.
was good.
What's good? It's been some time, but we're back. We're back at it. Something juicy today. You know what I'm saying? As always, we are podcast this. And Isaac, man, let's just dive right into it. A lot has happened in
Mhm.
the footballing world today and this week.
Yes,
And I
sir.
think we just dive right in, man. Talk to me about this Liverpool Newcastle game, bro. Matter of fact, like this whole week, this whole month of March has been a generational Liverpool hate watch, bro.
I mean, it's been a good time to be a Manchester United fan. I gotta
I
say
can't
that for
lie.
sure.
It has, it has.
Like, like kind of watching your biggest rivals, like,
Mm-hmm.
go through it. It's been kind of nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been enjoyable. I say bittersweetly, but
Mm,
we'll get into the meat of that. Why I say that. So tell me about
okay.
your reactions about today's game, bro. How do you feel about the way Newcastle won? Congrats to Newcastle. Any Newcastle fans
I
winning
know, right?
watching? Yeah, but how do you feel
Shout
about
out
that
to
game?
Newcastle. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I feel like Newcastle should have won the game just
Mm-hmm.
because I saw a stat today that Liverpool before this game had played nine more games than Newcastle.
Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah,
just think about it. Nine more games. Like that's midweek games that Liverpool
hmm yeah,
have played more than Newcastle. Those are days in which Newcastle have had time off,
yeah.
essentially, right?
hmm
And just think about it. Right before this one, within the week, Newcastle didn't have a game within the week.
Nah,
Liverpool not only had a game within the week, they had like 120 minutes of like grueling football with
hmm
PSG, man. Like,
only to
so
lose. Like,
you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So let's even forget about what that does to them like mentally. But
hmm
let's just it's a sport. It's a physical sport, right? It's
yeah,
athleticism, right? You need runners and things like that. I feel like there's only so much Liverpool can do. I mean, they lost the game today just because Newcastle showed more energy. But it's not
hmm
because Newcastle just showed more energy. They had more of it to show. You
they
get what I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
that point.
Liverpool were just outrun, outfought. Like Newcastle were big, strong. They used that against Liverpool, and you saw
Yeah.
it. Like for me, that was really the difference. So I don't want to slight Liverpool too much, right? Although I
Mhm.
was happy they lost. By the end of the day, like let's have it right, man. This wasn't a
Mhm.
fit, strong, ready to go Liverpool, man. They had just had a grueling day, and you even saw it today. It happened
Yeah,
to Atletico Madrid as well. It's almost as
yeah.
if they just couldn't run again. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, bro, after 120 minutes of football, it's just like it's just hard. It's
Yeah.
hard, and it 110 minutes of football that took a lot out of them. By the way, they weren't playing
Yeah.
like some small position where they just dominated the game, bro.
Mhm.
PSG made sure they ran, like
Exactly,
they
bro.
ran for their lives, man. So like
Exactly,
today
though.
going in,
Mhm.
I kind of felt like if Newcastle do what we know Newcastle do, which is just be physical. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they're a great footballing team. They're just like back to front really fast, like very, very vertical and a
Mhm.
lot of running, a lot of pace. I mean, Joel
Yeah.
Linton, Tonali,
Mhm.
Ramirez, Bruno Ramirez. I mean,
Dude,
come on,
that
these guys,
midfield, what are you gonna do
bags of
against them?
energy.
Like,
Like, bags
and
of
then you
energy.
go to the
So
back and you're fighting with Dan Burn. In the front, you're fighting with Isaac.
like they're just like physical monsters.
They are,
So
man. They are.
yeah, I mean,
They
shout
are.
out to Liverpool. They tried, but I just felt like if Newcastle turned up the way I was expecting them to
Mhm.
turn up, they were gonna win. And also, sort of thinking about how we beat Newcastle like, a year or two ago, the difference
Shout out
was
Casemiro.
shout
Shout
out
out
to Cash.
Casemiro.
The difference was we swallowed our pride. We
Mhm.
accepted that we're not a better team than Newcastle. So we sat
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Everyone said in that final that Newcastle were the better team. Well, that
Yeah.
don't win you a trophy, right?
That don't
Liverpool
win you
came in with their
games.
pride. They wanted to show up their chest out, go attacking. And then hey, Newcastle were
Mhm.
like, Niggy, you're not gonna show us that respect. Then hey, sure, we're gonna, run at you. So maybe that's the only thing I would say. Maybe this is the game where I feel like maybe Liverpool should have just raised up their hands and say, physically we're not ready yet. Let's just sit in a little bit more, conserve the energy, and let Mo Salah hit on the counter. But like,
Mhm.
they wanted to go for it, and Newcastle basically did the opposite, which was, yeah, we're gonna sit in. You have nowhere to go. You can't run anymore. Like
Mhm.
Mo Salah, which we'll get on to,
We'll
was
get on.
basically locked down by Livramento, man. Livramento didn't even have to. Livramento, Jojo. Okay, man, you come in.
Livermore has played most of Newcastle's games on that flank though this season. He's kind of replaced Trippier on that right back role. And I
Mhm.
think last season he was the guy who would come in when Trippier was injured, but now he's taking the role on his own. So he's a good right back. But you make a good point, and I think the direction in which you took it about energy opens up the door for so many other conversations, right? Because you can also see, I think you saw how Ancelotti was like, "Yo, we're not gonna play another game for Madrid if these guys don't give us more than 72 hours rest."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now it then brings up the question: are players playing too many games right now? Is football demanding too much from players to a point where crucial games like this could be decided just because one team, like you said, had more rest than the other, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
my follow up question is this: because Liverpool are playing more games because they're in more competitions, and they're in more
True.
competitions because they're performing, right? So it's like
Because
the cost of being a good team is playing more games, but that also comes at the cost of you having not to play as efficiently in more crucial games like today. So it's like a Liverpool suffering from success. What is it, man? You know, if you're in all competitions, you're
yeah,
playing more games. Like,
you
what
know,
is it?
this is very interesting, and I've thought about this for a while. I've been thinking like the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup wasn't established 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm,
They've been around for a minute, so teams in the Premier League have always had to have a midweek game. Do you get what
mm-hmm,
I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
But why wasn't this ever a complaint before? I just think what has happened, if you look at a bigger picture, again, even thinking about Pep Guardiola recently, and Fabio Capello made some comments about Pep Guardiola about how he has made the game a little bit too boring and stuff like
mm-hmm,
football is changing. Like we had a generation, a decade to 15 years of like, this sort of tiki taka.
mm-hmm.
Everybody takes their time, takes a breath. It doesn't take so much energy to play that kind of football, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
short passes, short spaces, just move around type situation. Now the game has become purely physical, man. Like people are
Mm-hmm,
just running. You get what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? So it's like there is so much more being required of these players. Like we expect them to be athletes now. You get what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm.
you can't have a number 10 who is just like a number 10 silky for you need them to be able to run as well now. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like the
that's what
game
football
has
is demanding now, right? So,
that's what is making it demanding. That's what is making like these sort of extra games feel so much more like, oh my
mm-hmm,
god, they are playing so much more. Because again, like I said, FA Cup has been around. I mean, Carabao Cup has been around. Champions League has always been around. Yes,
yeah,
now they've added more games with this whole new setup
format, yeah,
style, vibe, whatever. But again, it comes back to the point where now we're expecting the game to be physical. We're expecting end to end running all the time. If you think about Manchester United, our manager says this all the time. One of the reasons why we've been so bad is we just don't have enough physical players in the team. We have
mm-hmm,
technical players. Casemiro, give Casemiro space. He will cook. I mean, look at what he did to Real Sociedad. He has
mm-hmm,
space. But so far as you start running against the guy and you don't give him time to turn and look for a pass, he's not gonna do anything. Like today, he had so much pace, he pinged the ball to Dalo. I was like, my God, I just wish he had legs, man. You feel me?
yeah, yeah,
The pace of the game has changed so much, and I think that is what is affecting even more so Liverpool.
mm-hmm,
This has always been Liverpool's style of playing, right?
mm-hmm.
Fast, back to front, very quick, vertical. And it's just like, man, you can't do that 72 hours. You feel me? And have like a
Mm-hmm.
72 hour rest and already boom, next game. You get what I'm
Okay,
saying?
no, fair
So
enough. That makes sense. So, how do teams and
that's what I
players
think.
adjust? Do we then increase the squad, the squad depth? Do we increase the amount of players a team can have per season? Because, like you said, people are only going to demand more and expect more of these teams,
Exactly.
coaches and players alike.
Exactly.
But the peak of physical fitness for the human body, especially for an athlete, right?
Hmm.
Being an athlete in this day and age is finite. It's not infinite. So how do we
No,
then balance the boat?
so
How
true,
do
man.
we then meet players' needs, meet football's needs, and meet the fans' needs? How do we do that?
I think it will also come from the fans, right? At the end of the day, our expectations. Unfortunately, we want to see, your favorite guy, Mo Salah. We want to see him Wednesday. We want to see him Sunday, and we want to see him the following week, Tuesday as well. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm,
we wouldn't accept the solution being, oh, maybe you see Mo Salah only on Sundays because within the week, maybe Chiesa is gonna play. Do you get what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like, we're not gonna say, okay, this means we want more depth. This means we want other players playing. Nah, we want to see our superstars every time a team steps out on the pitch. Like I was thinking
exactly.
about Real Madrid today,
Hmm.
right? Like you alluded to Carlo Ancelotti complaining. I'm like, dude, you didn't have to play Mbappe again.
Hmm.
But then I'm also like, well, the Madrid fans want to see Mbappe again.
And
You feel
Madrid
me?
need to win too, man. Like now they're second in the table, right? Like things are heating up.
Exactly.
You need your
So
best
it's like
players.
the solution is not gonna be okay, more players or whatever, right? I
Hmm.
don't know. It eventually I think it's gonna come down to rotation. Like right now, managers who rotate enough are the managers who are keeping their players fit. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, so rotating the squad around probably is what is gonna,
Mm-hmm.
keep your team going longer. Because the physical style of football is that's gonna be the football for like another decade. All these styles take a decade until someone else figures this out. Like right now, everyone has figured out Pep's style of football. He's having to change. He himself even said it in an
Mm-hmm.
interview. He's like, the way of playing now is the way Newcastle play, is the way Bournemouth play, which is what? Ball back to front. Quick, pa, 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 they are
Mm-hmm.
going. So that is also gonna stay for a while. So with time, people will figure it out. People will like, start adjusting to that. We're gonna require players to be big, tall, strong. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. I mean, we can't complain as fans, man. We want more ball. Like, if I had to
Mm-hmm.
watch Manchester United every 3 days, I love that, right? But
Yeah.
also,
No, for sure.
I want to watch Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes every 3 days. It's
I
like you
need
can't
that.
have to pick and eat.
I need that silky Fernandez ball, bro. You feel me? I need my
Yeah,
back three playing optimally, but I get what you're saying. That makes sense. You know, I guess people football will figure itself out. Maybe someone down the line will introduce some more rules. We had that rule during COVID, the water break rule. Remember? And
yeah.
so stuff like that. Maybe those things could help players balance out their physical fitness.
Yeah.
But
Maybe even increase the number of substitutions per game instead of
that
five.
could make
Take it
sense
up to
too.
7.
Take it up to
Take
seven.
it
That's
up
my
to a whole 11.
it
Allow
could
managers to change the whole 11,
yeah,
man.
no, I think that makes sense. I don't see how catastrophic that will be. We'd have to do more analysis on that, but it could happen, right? But let's talk about the players who did play because you mentioned another good point about players playing day in day out, right? Your star players
Yeah.
and Liverpool's star player of the week this week was absent from this game, bro.
Yeah.
Right? So I looked at the lineup and I said, why isn't Allison playing? Is he injured? Is he not okay? He was on the bench. Alisson was on the bench today. Alisson basically saved Liverpool from being thrashed by PSG, bro, from being embarrassed.
And I
And
don't
I'm
know what that
wondering
man is
why,
doing, man.
you know what I'm saying? So in a must-win game, why isn't your best player of the week playing? Because the best player where everyone expects to be the best was silent that game. He was silent this game. And we're gonna
Mention
go
his name, Jojo. Mention his name. Let people know who you're talking about, man. Because last week you sat here, you made a lot of. So mention his name. You feel me?
dude. Let me make one thing entirely clear. I'm not a Liverpool fan. I have never been a Liverpool fan, and I'll never be a Liverpool fan. However, the prospect of Mohamed Salah winning a Ballon d'Or was interesting for me as an African man. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to see another African win the Ballon d'Or, but at the same time, it's also based on merit on games like these. And I concede to that. You were heavily mentioning that the entire last week. I concede to that. I do concede to that. But let's get back to Liverpool's other best player though before we start roasting Mo Salah. I don't know why he didn't play Allison, and maybe that
Yeah.
was because, like you said, okay, maybe Slot felt like it was a guaranteed win. Everyone kind of thought it was a guaranteed win for Liverpool, though. All these other pundits who were kind of making predictions of the games, right? Saturday Social, the overlap, and them ones, right? And even some other Liverpool fans themselves. Of course, Newcastle coming to this, not having won a trophy in how many 40 plus years, right?
70 actually.
70. Oh, it was since what 1960 something.
70, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
1969. It's
Since
been a minute.
1969, yeah, 70 plus years. So you bring that kind of baggage, especially when they lost a final like this not too long ago. But they did what they had to do, right? So at the end of the day, I don't know if it was Newcastle played a really good game, but I think maybe Liverpool got too cocky. I don't know if Slot got too cocky. He didn't feel his best 11 available to him to win a final.
Jojo, I
So
feel like personally, I feel like you kind of okay. They lost Allison. Would have Allison made a difference? Okay, maybe he would
I
have
think
saved.
so. I think so. Because no, let's look at the way these guys conceded their goals, right? Well,
True.
first of all, the first goal, that header, those were the kind of goals Alisson was saving in the
I
Champions
don't
League
know, Jojo, but
game
that
against
header was
PSG.
a strong header, bro. God
It,
damn.
it was a strong header, but all the chances that Alisson could have conceded in the other goal in the other games, I'm willing to bet, right? The
Okay.
XG, just by Alisson being in goal, the XG goes down. That's what I'm throwing in
Okay.
there.
Okay. Fair
The
enough.
XG goes
I
down.
mean, I
Just
I
by
feel like
Alisson
there.
being in goal. That's
I
the
feel like
second
Liverpool
goal.
had more problems. I feel like
No,
Liverpool
they
had more
did.
problems. Just
They did, but
Allison
this was
up.
one of the crucial ones though, because even the
Yeah.
second goal that got ruled out, Kelleher punches the ball back onto Isaac. Right, we saw like Allison take maybe two or three of those shots in the other game, and he was like thrusting them out, broski. They even had to come
Yeah,
and
or
ask him.
actually holding on to them.
You feel what I'm saying? Those things like make a huge difference. Now Isaac's
True,
second
true.
goal, hey man, that's just a center forward being a center forward, bro. You know what I'm saying? So these things, even psychologically, bro, they may not necessarily have a physical impact, but psychologically they matter. Now I'm not gonna be a Liverpool apologist. I don't feel bad that Liverpool lost. I feel
I
bad that
mean,
it's a fixed Salah's balloon though. But again, credit where credit's due. Players who are
yeah,
performing, bro.
they're
So
performing.
that's my take on today's game. Above all things, I think Liverpool Sheffield are their best goalkeeper.
Okay.
Someone had a 0xg, 0.0 xg, 0.0 xa. It was he kind of ghosted the whole game. And I think maybe
Yeah, I'm just
this might be a good segue for us to talk about Salah in his entirety and analyze this season, right? Um, I think prior to the PSG game, a lot of people had Salah in their Ballon d'Or hopes, right? I
yes,
inclusive,
sir.
I'm one of those people. And it was contingent also in Salah beating both PSG and Newcastle this evening, both of which he has failed to do. Now it only looks like Liverpool could pick up the Prem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes: it's hurt Salah's Ballon d'Or chances really badly. Is there any way for him to win the Ballon d'Or this season? Any way? Is it completely out of the question now?
I mean, it depends, right? If
Mhm.
like Aston Villa go and win the Champions League, for example,
Uh,
right? If Aston Villa go win the Champions League, Liverpool win the league,
mhm.
maybe Atletico Madrid wins the La Liga, then Mo Salah could still win the Ballon d'Or, right? Because that will put more jeopardy in the situation.
Yeah.
But if either Madrid or Barcelona wins this Champions League, man,
Game
Mbappe or
over.
Rafinha is picking this thing up. It's as simple as that. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Same as you last week, you mean? I told you. Me, I've never been the biggest fan of Mo Salah. Just
Mhm.
because I've always felt okay, let me be honest, right? For
Mhm.
me, it came really from people making these comparisons like, he's a better like winger in the Premier League than Cristiano Ronaldo. Like I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? Because
Mhm.
of what? He has
Mhm.
one Premier League title to show for it. Like, Jesus, what are we talking about here?
He is
You
the
get what
fifth
I'm saying?
highest scorer in the Prem, though. You know.
Because he has been here how many years? And that's always the argument of people. It's like
Mhm.
longevity. I'm like, wait, who is to say that if Ronaldo also stayed here for 5 more years, he wouldn't have, torn it up or something? If you actually look at the projection of the players' performances,
Yeah.
he won 3 Premier League titles on the bounce, right?
Mhm.
In 2008, he won every individual award possible on the planet, every
Mhm.
single one.
Mhm.
Premier League Player of the Year, top goal scorer, Golden Shoe, European Golden Shoe, won the Ballon d'Or on top of it, European Best. Every single thing there was to win, my man picked it
Mhm.
up.
Mhm.
You feel me?
I feel
And
you.
he set the record for the most goals in a Premier League season, which Mo
Mhm.
Salah, by the way, still hasn't been able to even break. 31 goals. Mo Salah
Mhm.
has never scored 31 goals in a season before. So he has never ever really hit that sort of right. Because you think about Thierry Henry, right? Why do
Mhm.
people think of Thierry Henry as like, the best player in the Prem ever, right? For example. I mean, the man has only like what 2 Premier League titles to show for it. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Ryan Giggs has 13.
Mhm.
13. But people are still gonna pick Thierry Henry. Why? Because at the peak of his prowess, he was untouchable. I've never felt that way about Mo Salah, right? Like he's
Mhm.
good. He's gonna score a goal. Like he's what I think I would say, right? Mo Salah is like I look at Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka at the peak of his performance is Mo Salah. Nothing fancy,
Mhm.
nothing extraordinary, just good pass, top bins, consistency. He's not Eric Cantona. Like, you feel me? He's not that guy.
Are you
So I've
looking for
always
the
felt like
flair? Are you
he's
looking
just
for
not
like
that
that
guy.
extra seasoning? What are you looking for in this argument you're making?
Like,
Like,
basically, I'm just saying, I've always felt he's just a really, really effective winger. I don't think he's the greatest winger in the Prem. I've never
okay.
thought he's one of the greatest footballers of all time. He definitely shouldn't be in a Prem GOAT conversation for me, personally.
Mhm.
I don't think
Mhm.
so. I mean, you could have your opinions. I just don't think so. There is more to the game. Like, to be a great, there is more to the game. If you're going to be a stats machine, then be Alan Shearer. Just score the most goals in the Prem. That's it. If Mo Salah finishes his Liverpool career and he has that, okay, we'll raise our hands up and say, okay, good. Do you get what I'm saying? It's
If
going
he
to be a
finishes
stats machine.
with more goals than Alan Shearer,
That's it.
bro,
He's a good.
he's not doing that.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna build yourself as the stats guy,
Let me see how
then
many
be the
goals he has
stats
right
guy
now.
across board. You get what
Um,
I'm saying? He hasn't
he's
even beat he hasn't even beat Harry Kane yet, so he should relax.
no, he hasn't. He hasn't. He's 184 right now, and Alan Shearer is 260. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Like he's he's not doing that. But I see the
Why
point
is
you're
he not
making. I
doing
see the
that
point
though?
you're making. I see the point you're
Like
making.
that, and that's what I'm saying. And that's
Mhm,
what I said last week. My other biggest challenge with Mo Salah too is since I've always seen him as a stat kind of player in these big games where he needs something more than just wait to put the ball in the back
mhm,
of the net.
mhm, mhm,
When you are coming up against world class left backs,
mhm.
Nuno Mensch. You know, when you are coming up
Mhm.
against proper defenders, Sergio Ramos. You remember that
Mhm.
Champions League final? Sent
Yeah,
my
but
man
Sergio
home.
Ramos was wrestling that boy, but he broke his arm.
I'm just saying,
He almost
in
broke
this
his
type
arm
of
intentionally.
games, in this type of games, Jojo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
you need the great players who say they are great players to chest out. You know, I'm thinking about Eric Cantona. He will score the goal and be like this. I am that guy. You feel me?
yeah,
Ronaldo will do a sue, man. Messi will score and do like he hasn't scored, bro. God damn. Like when you
yeah.
need
No,
these sort of legendary GOAT players to really show why they are the GOATs,
he
my
disappeared.
man always disappears. Why?
That's a good point.
That
I
is
will
not
not.
Ballon d'Or worthy for me.
I won't fight you on that point. I won't fight you on that point.
He's the greatest African footballer, arguably, of
Mm-hmm.
all time.
Yeah.
I mean, George Weah will have something to say because George Weah actually has a Ballon
It's
d'Or to
Ballon
show for
d'Or.
it.
I think Ballon d'Or is heavy, but you could make the argument. You could craft your argument in a way to say, okay, cool, Salah, you know, has performed as the better footballer. You know what I'm saying? You could make an argument of different periods of football, but we're not even going to get into that. We could say that for a little episode. But I see your point, right? The
Mm-hmm.
thing that makes Salah fall below who we have seen as the GOATs is his performance where it matters,
It
right?
matters, man.
Where it matters. And you're saying that people are kind of overhyping his day to day performance against Prem teams as something extraordinary. Yet, extraordinary is him performing against PSG, is him performing against Newcastle today, right? So, where
But
does that
by the
leave?
way,
Yeah.
I don't even say his performances are extraordinary, right? Because I looked at the stats chart. You know, Mo Salah has never scored 30 Premier League goals in a season. I mean, that is not extraordinary, Jojo. I'm sorry. Like,
Fair
my
enough.
man sat around in the Prem for Ellen Haaland, 23-year-old, to leave Germany and come and score 36 and break the record. What was Mo Salah doing in the time? Yes, you could make an argument that he's a winger. Wingers, Ronaldo set the record as a, what, right midfielder.
Mm-hmm. True, true,
You
true.
get what I'm saying?
I get what you're
Suarez
saying.
also did it at Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
31 goals in the season. Mo Salah
Mm-hmm.
never did that. 20, 22, 21, 23. I mean, come on, man. So it's not, I don't see the extraordinary they're talking about. You get
So, are
what
you
I'm
just
saying?
saying that Mo Salah is an average player who
I don't think he's
oh, okay.
average.
Okay. Let me reframe what I'm saying. He's not an average player. He's just a good player among average players. He's the
No.
standout among the average,
So let's think of it this way.
right?
There's
Because let me
good,
tell you why I'm
yes.
asking that. Let me tell you why I'm asking
Okay.
that. Because while he hasn't reached those numbers,
Hmm.
right, there's still some other stats to show for it, right? Let's say like him winning the Golden Boot how many times? Thrice, I think,
Yeah, three
right?
times, yeah.
Him being fifth all-time Premier League scorer, right? Despite, of course, other players who you mentioned being in the Premier League for short amounts of time, like Suarez, Ronaldo, etc., right? He's still up there. He still scored those goals.
Oh,
Stat
yeah.
padding is a skill in of itself, and
And
you
and
start pad
I
so much,
agree.
it gets to a point where you're like, "Okay, cool. Maybe we should have a conversation about this, right?"
Hmm.
he he's having a phenomenal season this season, right? One that people make akin to Ronaldo and Messi. That just tells you what they're like. But again, it's happening, right? Of course, he has like shied away when it really matters. But then again, his average, if you take like the average of the entire season, he's done some work. So what does that
I
then mean?
agree.
How do we categorize Mo Salah then?
So that's the thing. So there's GOAT tier of football, right?
Uh-huh.
GOAT. He's not GOAT tier,
Greatest of all. He's not. No one is saying he's the greatest of all
right?
time.
Before that.
He,
You feel me? Like
so
he's right before that.
So he's not S class, he's A class. Like he's not S tier, he's A tier, right?
He's A. He's not A plus. No, like Jojo.
Yeah.
I don't want people to get me wrong. I'm not slandering Mo Salah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, actually, fair play to Mo Salah, right? Because he's
Mm-hmm.
done well to actually be in these conversations, by the way, right? To
Mm-hmm.
be in the conversation of being one of the greatest Premier League wingers of all time,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you think about the wingers the Premier League has had, right? George Best, Eric
Mm-hmm.
Cantona, bro, people slant. Ryan Giggs, man, has the most assists in the Premier League history and
Mm-hmm.
has 13 Premier League titles, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get what I'm saying? And Mo Salah is still in those conversations. So he's
Mm-hmm.
done well for himself, right? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of was like, there needs to be more. If you want to be that guy, there needs to be more. And I just feel like there have been so many times, so many opportunities for Mo Salah, by the way, right? He's been in more than one Champions League final. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? He has had so many opportunities to actually prove it, right? And this will probably even lead us into a conversation we are having earlier about Liverpool versus Manchester City. I mean,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be the talisman of this team, but you sat down for one team to just like it was abuse, man. It was abuse. Like Manchester City sit down, Pep will raise his hand and say, "Oh, this is the greatest team I've ever gone head to head with." Man, bro, you won six. You looked at their faces and won six, bro. And
Mm-hmm.
they were just there looking at you, man. They
Mm-hmm.
couldn't win it till a COVID season, bro. I don't know, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So for me, I've always felt like it's just one of those things. If you think about Cristiano Ronaldo, it's like for all he had to go up against when he even went to La Liga. Damn, my man still gave us some moments, bro. Still gave us some moments that made
Mm-hmm.
us go, "Hmm, he's a goat." You feel
Fair
me?
enough.
I just like,
No, I understand. Fair enough. And I think this this leads us into a conversation we're having. So let's kind of set the tone for people who are listening and watching. As the United game was going on, Isaac and I were talking about Liverpool because that game had just ended, right? So fresh off the
yeah,
bat, Liverpool had lost, and we're talking about just how Salah is continuously failing to appear when it needs to happen. And I think the argument that I was trying to put forth is that yes, he has, and within the realms of the Premier League, I think City have just been so good that what more could Salah have? What more could Salah have done in order to meet that, right? And you can always score more goals, you could always assist more, but when you have a team that's winning four in a row, winning a treble, winning 6 out of 7, making 100 points, does that team just become the team that is indomitable? That's just unbeatable, and Salah in all his glory can't reach that height. So that's where we're coming from. That's the
mhm.
argument Isaac and I are having. So you guys can tell us what you think, but let's continue the conversation because again, I'm saying that Salah could have assisted more, scored more, but going against a team as strong as City, there's nothing more you could have done against that, in my opinion. I At least in the Premier League, I just don't think so. Right? So does it then become a Salah problem, a Liverpool problem? Does it become a City problem where City are too good to be touched like that? Or like what does it become?
Uh,
Are we saying the same thing? Is it two sides of the same coin? What is it?
so I mean, here's my philosophy, Jojo,
Uh-huh.
and it's not even just football, even in life, right? Because I'm even thinking back into like primary school and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
anytime I wasn't first in the class, I didn't go and say, I wasn't first before because that guy is better. Like, you feel me? I
Mm.
didn't go and blame the guy who was first. You feel me?
I feel you. I
Like,
feel you. I feel you.
I went back home and said, maybe I should have woken up at 4 a.m. too, like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the next time I'll come in waking up at 4 a.m. just so I can be first this time around. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yeah.
time when I'm first, I don't want someone pointing the finger at me saying, "Oh, I'm too good," so they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't beat me. I mean, that's always my mentality. So that's how I see it here too. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna point fingers at Manchester City and say, they've been like some otherworldly team. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why have they been otherworldly? They play against teams, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They play against Liverpool at least twice in a season, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They do. So, what has Liverpool been doing? Why couldn't Liverpool also be otherworldly?
Fair enough. That's a good point.
I'm just saying, bro.
I
Like,
know you're saying it like that.
I'm just
Good
saying,
point.
like, you
Mm.
don't just sit there
Mm.
to be cooked
Mm-hmm.
4 years in a row. God damn. And this is not just Liverpool, by the way. This is the whole Premier
And there's
League.
no Premier League, right? There's no
Everyone
Premier
else.
League.
Like, we sit there, be cooked
Mm-hmm.
4 times in a row, and then we raise up our hands and say, "Oh, they are too good." Nah, we suck, bro.
Hmm.
We
But those
see
two
that
things
is
can be true at the same time, no? Like we
no,
could suck, and these guys can also be too good.
no. We let's not take anything away from Manchester City, right?
Yeah.
Like I would put Ruben Diaz in a Premier League GOAT conversation before I even start thinking about Virgil van Dijk. So let's
Hmm.
have it right. I
Yeah.
really, really back what
Yes.
Manchester City have done.
Hmm.
You feel me? Like we are not here for this gimmick of like, oh, good on the ball type. Nah, they win. That's
Hmm.
what matters at the end of
Winners
the day.
win.
Winners win, bro.
Winners
You
win.
don't walk around
Period.
with like 5 Premier League titles and be compared to Virgil van Dijk, bro. Nah, it's disrespect in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm just this is my opinion, my guy. I'm just saying,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
right? Like I see this Virgil van Dijk Rio Ferdinand conversation. I'm like, nigga, you have one Premier League title, one.
Hmm.
Fuck off, man. I'm just saying, bro. Like, at some point, you also have to show your pride and say, you know what, guys, let's raise our hands up. We've been poor.
Hmm.
Trent Alexander Arnold, generational right back. Can't defend. What kind of right back is this?
Hmm.
Why is he generational? Because he can pass the ball? Yeah, he can pass the ball, but he's a right back, man. Why can't he defend? Maybe if he was a better defender, Liverpool win more titles.
Probably they do.
I guess we'll never know.
I
Because he
guess we'll.
never did it. Because he never did it.
Mhm.
Maybe if Mo Salah has scored more than 22 goals a season. You feel me?
Mhm.
Because again, like I said, he's never hit 31. Broken that record. Maybe if in one of those seasons, Mo Salah just broke that record.
Mhm.
Maybe. Again,
Maybe,
just maybe
maybe.
they win the league title. So for me, before I no, I'm giving props to Manchester City, but
Mhm.
I still feel like Liverpool could have done more. I still feel like these so-called Liverpool greats like Virgil van Dijk, like Mo Salah, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, there was always a question to their game. And to be the GOAT, to be the greatest player of all time, legendary, there should be
Mhm.
almost zero questions about your game. In
Mhm.
that run that you looked at that Kevin De Bruyne was so like invincible. You
Mhm.
didn't look at Kevin De Bruyne and say, okay, he can't run. He's good on the ball, but he can't run. No, there was never a question to his game. He could pass the ball, he could shoot the ball, he could assist, he could run, he had energy to track back. He could do everything you needed your talisman to be able to do. You feel me?
True.
But with these Liverpool players, there's always something. Trent can't defend. Mo Salah, he will go for it. He doesn't track back enough. He's not
Mhm.
able to beat players like he should. Like he's one of, if you think about it, he's one of the wingers who doesn't even dribble the most. Cause man, he's 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 just not. I don't want to say he's not that good, but we just don't see enough of it. Maybe that's not his game,
Saying
right? And
pacemaker.
sometimes I feel like they miss Sadio Mane because of that, right? Because Mane could
Mhm.
actually take men on and like
Mhm.
drop them and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
hey, for me, that's my argument.
Okay.
It's very very simple. I just feel like Liverpool, it's their fault. It's not because Manchester City were too good. They could
Mhm.
have done something about it. They just sat there and watched these guys just come and wipe the floor with us. And then they City to Pep. He'll be like, oh, Klopp is like the greatest manager I've gone up against. Man, you God dang. I'm not gonna say anything. Even Mourinho didn't take such a beating against Alex. He came in and won two. He
Mhm.
won two. Back to back, oh, by the way. You feel me?
With Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro. Like you
No,
Klopp,
I
you
see what
came
you're
and you
saying.
were battered, bro.
You make a very good point. And you make a good point about us not pointing fingers to other people but ourselves. When things go wrong. And by us, I don't mean I'm a Liverpool fan. Let me make this abundantly clear again. If you just come into the video, maybe I should show you my United jersey. Right? Oh, here you go. Right? You guys don't get it twisted, right? I'm United through and through. I'm only talking about Liverpool because they have Mo Salah, and because Mo Salah is Egyptian, and they want another African to win the Ballon d'Or. Let me make this
No, we
abundantly
all
clear.
do.
True.
We all
Now,
do.
now
They
that's
want
out of the
them to
way.
deserve it though.
Yes,
Let's
100%.
right.
Yeah, no, true. I agree. He needs to earn it. No one won the Ballon d'Or by mistake. Even Luka Modric, who people had
So
questions about, went to a World Cup semi-final and took his team there. Right?
a final, bro. He
World Cup
went to the
final.
final and
World Cup
was the
final.
golden
He took his
ball.
team.
Best player in
Yes,
the tournament.
he
He
was.
showed up when it mattered.
Every single person who's won the Ballon d'Or has done something remarkable, right? I understand that, and we need that from Mo Salah. We need that sort of standard. So I don't disagree with that. I'm a bit saddened that he hasn't showed that up because what that looks like for Mo Salah is him showing up in these finals and whatnot that you expect him to. You feel me? I completely understand that. I understand that. So where does this leave his his legacy, because I think, while I agree with your argument, I think those two things can be true at the same time, especially because of Mo Salah, right? The times when Mo Salah won the Golden Boot, where he was playing like a top player, the players who were in his stratosphere were not superb players. I mean, they were good, right? Because he was winning with 20, 21, 22, 23 goals. Those are the number of goals that Rafinha and Mbappe both have right now. Dembele too, right? So he
True,
was
true,
winning.
true.
Like, he was being the first, but the pool among which he was being the first wasn't a remarkable pool. You feel what I'm saying? Individually wise. So when a team like City or like players in that stratosphere come and they're just so good, I feel like Mo Salah was just used to outcompeting people who are not that much better. And when he faced a coach and a team who are now really good, he kind of shunned away. You feel what I'm saying? So I think it's two sides of the same coin, right? It's like Mo
Yeah, I
Salah
mean,
can say he was a golden boot winner with 23 goals, and we can't take that away from him. I think there was a season where it was him, Son, and someone else. I think Mane
yeah,
at the same time, 21 goals. We can't take that away.
yeah.
But
You're never gonna hear that about
yeah,
Haaland, right? Sharing it with somebody. Nah, bro.
no, fair
It ain't.
enough, fair enough, fair enough. Because he scored. Well, I think Haaland is a terrible example because it's just a goal machine. But I get your point. I get your point, right? Scoring 36 goals in your first season is unprecedented. But I get your point. So I think that's where the problem is with Salah, in that the stats he has, right, are not worthy stats, right? He's just faced someone who is otherworldly in this case and has cast a shadow upon those stats. So I think it's two sides of the same coin.
I
That's
mean,
what I was trying to drive the point towards.
and in some part, of course, I mean,
Mhm.
the other side, like the other guy still has to do their job, right? They still have to go on
Yes.
there, show day in, day out. Like Bernardo Silva still has to be like a defensive midfielder, left back,
Mhm.
right? But he has to do all those things. You feel
Rodri
me?
still have to cook.
You
KDB
get
still
what
have
I'm
to cook.
100%.
Diaz
So
and Stones still have to cook. Sterling, all those guys have to cook.
agreed,
So
right? So
yeah.
they had to do their job. They did, and fair play to
Mhm.
them. They did their job, but you know, like you said something here that got me thinking. You're like, Mo Salah just hadn't faced that level of competition before, and I just thought to myself, there was a period, like one of the things that really made me like Cristiano Ronaldo is there
Mhm.
was a period in which Messi won like the Ballon d'Or 4 times in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he could have also done a Mo Salah here.
Mhm.
The competition is just it, bro.
Mhm.
Bro, my man leveled up his game.
Mhm.
He leveled up his level up your game.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's more Mo Salah. No, I don't know about you, right? Maybe I'm just used to too much. Like when I think of goat players, maybe I'm just used to
That's the
too
truth,
much of
though.
the standard. And that
Mhm.
is the truth. No, that is
That's
the
the
too
truth.
much. And what I'm saying is, I'm also trying to actually put Mo Salah in that standard, right?
Mhm.
Where I'm demanding that from him. I'm demanding him to do 30 goals in the Premier
Mhm.
League. I'm demanding him to do 50 goals a season. You feel what I'm saying? Ronaldo scored 60 goals 6 seasons consecutively. Like
Mhm.
I'm demanding that. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like if you're gonna say you are a stat kind of player, I mean Ronaldo even said it. Like he had to modify his game a little bit because he realized goals was what mattered the most. You get
Mhm.
what I'm saying? He wasn't doing that by scoring 20 goals a season. He was doing that by scoring 60 goals a season. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
he set out to say, okay, I know goals is the most important thing, that I'm gonna have the most goals in history of football. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if goal assist is the most important thing to Mo Salah,
Mhm.
you better make sure you have the most all the time. You get what I'm saying? Like there's
Mhm.
so much more I feel like you need to do to just get that sort of GOAT recognition. Again, I'm not saying he's not, I'm just saying he's A, of course. He's like top tier. Like I'd probably even make an argument for him, you know, with the likes of Thierry Henry and stuff like because I mean as good as Henry is, bro, only two prem titles to show for it. No Champions League trophy to show for it. I don't know.
Mhm.
My man talks like he's won everything in the game, man. I don't know. Anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. For me, so me, I just want to end by saying, a fair play to Manchester City. They made it
Yes.
almost impossible,
They did what
right?
they had to do. They had to
They
lock
did what
down.
they had to do. They had to
Right. They had
lock
to
down. They
lock
did what
down.
they had to do. And it's true,
Yeah.
right? It's true. But I still feel and believe that Liverpool
Could do better. Yeah.
especially Mo Salah
Mm-hmm.
and Virgil van Dijk, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Every day walking around like he's afraid of the ball. Like, I'm saying it. There's this stat that he's one of the few Premier League defenders who's been dribbled past. You know what I asked myself? How many times do you actually find him in a situation where someone is trying to dribble him? People say that is, oh, he's so intelligent that he makes sure that situation doesn't even happen. I'm like, dude, bro, come on. He's always running away somewhere. Someone else is doing that job, bro. Like, did you see against PSG? There's a
Yeah.
moment in the first leg, bro. Where was he going? It's like, yeah, let me go here, so that everyone will say Trent is the one who lost the man. Like, bro, and then they put him in. It's okay. I'll end it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me,
Nah. Get your
shout out
frustrations
to
out.
them, bro.
Get your frustrations out. It's fine.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think Liverpool are great. I think they are great. I mean, that team is a great team. Like Virgil is a super, super defender, right? But he's not making my all-time top three Premier League defenders. He's not. He might not
Yeah.
even make top four. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like,
Well, I don't think he can. I don't think he
that's what I'm
can.
saying, bro. What
Mm-hmm.
do you have to show for it? Ruben Diaz will be there before Mo Salah, before Virgil van Dijk. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say what you want about Ruben Diaz. My man has 4 titles in a row to show for the work.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, I'm just
John
saying.
Stones, yeah. Would you put Calvin Phillips in there?
Jojo, you know what I mean? These players have been influential in the
I
run.
know,
I'm not talking
really.
about players who are just sitting on the bench, bro. Nah,
I know
Ruben
what you
Diaz
mean.
at
I know
one
what
point
you
was the best defender in the Prem,
mean.
and for a reason. He did his job. He wasn't doing this jogging, running away gimmick. He was going in there, booting players down. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me?
I feel you.
So yeah. I mean, I'll end on that. Shout out to Mo Salah. It's really sad. He's the one African we thought was gonna do it, but unfortunately, I don't think he has deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there's more to the game than just the kind of goals Mo Salah even scores sometimes, bro. It's like, what is this, bro? Like he has been asked for like 70 minutes of the game, and then 72nd minute some parry shots and goal. He has scored a goal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, we
Okay,
need
are
more.
you
Let's wait.
saying Mo Salah hasn't he doesn't influence games the way the goats do, and he doesn't leave his mark on games the way they do. He may score goals, and it goes beyond
Yeah,
scoring goals. It's
yeah.
influence. It's carrying games. It's having the game on your shoulders.
You
It's
know the best
Ronaldo.
example I can even think of right now. You know Andy Cole of Manchester United.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
My man has like so many goals.
Mm-hmm.
He's like in top five top scorers in the Prem,
Mm-hmm.
and his actual like goal like conversion rates, like goal per game
Mm-hmm.
ratio, is one of the best around Andy Cole, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But no one thinks about Manchester United legends and think of Andy Cole,
Mm-hmm.
because he was just a goal scorer, man. He puts the ball in the back of the net. He wasn't impacting games the likes of Scholes and Roy Keane and things like that. And I just feel like, unfortunately, maybe that's all Mo Salah. We just expected more. Again, I don't want this to seem like I don't like Mo Salah. It's just a case of I think he deserves to be in the conversations of the GOATs, but unfortunately, he just hasn't done enough for me to say, okay, I want to
Mm-hmm.
put him in that sort of A plus. Like if I'm like when I'm talking about the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Eric Cantona, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, you get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Thierry Henry. Um, I don't want to mention Mo Salah. Like I'll mention Mo Salah with Eden Hazard. You feel me? Like that's what I would say.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not gonna mention Mo Salah with nah. I'll mention him with Eden Hazard, David Beckham. Even David Beckham, bro, has like 4 or 5 Prem titles.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, where's your winner's medal? You don't have it. No, no one gets a recognition for being second. Unfortunately, gotta win.
No, fair enough. That makes sense. I guess that just leaves us not at an impasse, but with things to think about. Because the truth is, I had hoped Mo Salah, like you did, would you know at least this season carry around that flame he has in the PL to win the Ballon d'Or. But I agree that he needs to do something beyond that, something spectacular, and he has failed to do that. So I understand that, right? So for any Mo Salah fans watching, uh, don't come for Isaac. Don't come for me either. And again, you need to see this. I need to brandish this one more time. If you came in the video at this point, here I am, bro. These are my credentials.
No, but
Uh,
we're both Salah
yeah,
fans. We just wanted
yeah.
more. And we didn't
No
want a
cap.
situation whereby people point fingers at his Ballon d'Or and say, "Ah, but what did he do?" No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. We wanted a situation whereby people look at it and say, "Yeah, my man deserved it." And
Mm-hmm.
and you remember last week I said this. I said the PSG game was the perfect. It was the perfect opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for Mo Salah to say, "Give me this Ballon d'Or, man." You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For as bad as Vinicius was last season, like the way he disappeared for Brazil and stuff. If you think about the Champions League, that game against Dortmund when they came back, scored a hat like you with these players, you always associate a game where you go, "Oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
they are screaming for the Ballon d'Or now. Like, give it to them." You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And he unfortunately just always never has that game. Never,
Mm-hmm.
never. Like Nuno Mendes has done more. Like Nuno Mendes has done more for himself than Mo Salah has in terms of Ballon d'Or. You feel? Do you get what I'm saying? Like the way Nuno Mendes locked this man down was crazy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Shout out to Mo Salah, though. It's
Shout out
unfortunate,
Mo
but hey,
Salah.
he's 32. Who knows? Next season he might be back. Hey, Messi won a Ballon d'Or like 35 or 36 or something.
Yeah, but
Who said
also Messi won the World Cup, so like,
so? George, are you saying Mo Salah cannot win the World Cup, man? Okay,
uh
we should end.
actually, matter of fact, I'm saying it can. I just need to see it happen. I just need to see it happen. I just need to see it happen. You know what I'm saying? I hope he does. I hope an
Yes,
African team
sir.
does. Shout out to your boys, Ghana, who couldn't win the penalty shootout. That's another conversation.
Okay, we are out, people.
Yeah.
Ghana is not even playing the World Cup.
Thanks you
Bro,
guys for
the World
tuning
Cup
in.
is finally coming to the United States, and my country is not in it.
That's tough.
Hey.
Not doing the AFCON. That's crazy. Mm-mm. You lot need to have a conversation amongst each other, bro.
Damn.
But thank you guys for tuning in for this episode. We'll see you guys soon. Again, as always, man, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to hear
Mm,
more of, let us
yes,
know
sir.
down there below. And you guys can reach out to us whenever you need to. Socials on the page. But for now, appreciate you. Peace, man.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.